So, hi. Um, this is my first time trying to stream, so I really don't know how my PC is going to handle this or how it's going to be handled by YouTube. So, and well, I had things planned, but the things did not go exactly the way I thought they would. So, I actually planned with Wolf Gaming on the chat right here to like have like some sort of an editing competition so like we can have fun. But turns out he couldn't join last minute, so well, I still have. Yes, hi. I still have the photos he sent me to like do the editing competition with, so I was thinking why not just have fun and edit. I don't know. I really don't know. I really don't have any idea what I'm gonna do here, but hey, I have a channel. I went live. So yeah. I mean, this is my first time trying to stream with like webcam and all of that. So it took me a lot of time to set this up and like last minute adjustments. So it took exactly 13 minutes late to start, apparently. So yeah. I mean, if there are any issues with the stream, let me know. I'll try to change things up last minute. I hope. And well, I don't know. Let's begin. Yeah, currently. Yes. So these are the files that infamous Wolf Gaming right there sent me. These are some DNGs he's got off of the internet, and well, I thought why not edit them while chatting, I guess. Lightroom. It's Lightroom CC. I do have Photoshop, but yeah, I prefer editing in Lightroom, adjusting the photo in Lightroom. And I have a bunch of presets that I made for my own cameras, and well, let's see if they work or not because I don't know. And well, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of delay with the stream. I'm trying to see it like through like my tab right here, which has the stream playing. So that's why there's a lot of air in between because I'm trying to see what's happening in the stream, but then it's like 15 seconds or something late, and it just doesn't make sense. Okay, I'll just get on. So like, I don't know. Let's select the photo. I guess this has a balance of. It looks symmetric, so I don't need to crop it that much and I don't know, force your perspective. All I need to do with this is like a bit of adjustment, which I like to do for every photos. And let's see if I can make this look good. This is really a test for my skills right here. And well, yeah. So I don't like using the bars here because they adjust things very broadly, and I'd like a bit more granular control. So I even in Premiere Pro or even DaVinci Resolve, I end up using the curves a bit more because I just understand what they do to the image and yeah, I just like to use the curves a lot. So earlier I used to like I don't know push the curves up to like give it that faded blacks look, and let's just say I grew out of that. I no longer like images that have very faded blacks, and I no longer do that. So my okay my black point stays right at zero, and you can see in the scopes right there that yeah, it's pretty well exposed, this image. So I'll add a bit of contrast by dragging the shadows a bit below. And I don't want to. Some people like to do this just to create an S curve, but as you can see with that, you're pushing things too much. You're taking the bright portions of the image, which were beautifully exposed, first of all, and you're making it blown out. You're essentially reducing the professionalism of that image, if you can say, with very big air quotes, but so I like to keep my highlights where they are. So like just subtle contrast adjustments and well that's pretty much what I do to the curves. I don't like to over add too much contrast or over edit a photo because the moment you start over editing something is the moment that it starts falling apart and it just doesn't look that good. And now I like to go to the HSL tab and like how do you manage studies along with YouTube? I just saw in chat. Um, yeah, earlier when I'm currently in 11th right now, and well, I thought it would be pretty hard to even make videos, and I pretty much think the main reason I'm making videos right now is because one, I'm stuck at my home, so every second that I'm not studying, I could spend time into thinking of making videos or even making videos. So that's probably one reason I'm making videos. But yes, balancing is a thing which I haven't even mastered that well. I mean, so I really can't say a lot. All I like to say is, well, if you're, I don't know, if you have work, prioritize it. Like, if you'd rather finish something earlier for like schoolwork, homework, assignments, finish that first and then move on to your videos, I guess. I am not the best at giving advice for this. But yes, I usually have Saturdays and Sundays free, and well, that's most of the time when I make my videos. Like, I sit down on either a Saturday or a Sunday, shoot the A roll, and the B roll I plan ahead, and the B roll might be shot even during weekdays when I'm free because I don't need to like spend a lot of time setting up things. I just have to set up a small region where I can film most of my B roll, and that takes less time than to set up an A roll sequence where I have to clean this room up and set lights up, and it's just a tedious process. So I'd rather shoot A roll on Saturdays and Sundays, and I like to plan like that to keep my Saturdays and Sundays free. Like, if I have assignments I'm supposed to be done by the next Monday, I'd sit down, crunch out, and do it by Friday. I mean, it's better you get work done earlier, even in school, so it pays out sometimes. So I'd suggest you prioritize your work and finish your assignments first as quickly as possible, and like with the time you've created by finishing your assignments as quickly as possible, you can use it to make videos. And yes, I jump topics a lot. If I see something in the chat, I'll start talking about it, forgetting what's in hand. So yes, expect that from me. Yeah, sure. I mean, there are probably people who are better suited to explaining how they split their time making videos and not making videos. But yeah, that's what I do. I finish my work quickly and get over with it. So yeah, now that we've added contrast to the image and made it look okay, I'd say it's you can even have an edit like this. It could be very realistic, a naturalistic style. I like to push things forward. Oh, am I blocking the curves? Nice, very nice. I did not notice that. Cool. So I like to go to the HSL panel. I'll just adjust the camera, like my webcam window. One sec. Yes, I'd like to have 200 subs. I can't adjust this on stream. Oh no. I guess you can't see the curves anymore. I'll try my best to like make sure it's above my face, like whatever I'm adjusting. This was very poorly planned, as you can see. I'd rather have my webcam on the left side than on the right side, but it just happened to be on the other side. So yeah, I mean, if you can follow with what I'm saying, I'm pretty sure these this is just basic adjustments that I'm trying to do here. I would like to change this though, with I don't know, in a future stream, I guess. Let's fix things. And well, for the HSL, the hue, saturation, and lightness, I don't like to play with the reds and oranges a lot because that's where skin tones are. And if you're especially working with portrait photos, you don't want to adjust any of those because I'm pretty sure no matter what camera you shoot on, it captures pretty decent skin tones because that's one of the main reasons people get camera to shoot portraits. So I'm pretty sure the raw files from the camera, be it a phone or even a mirrorless, it will have good skin tone. So I'd rather suggest not touching the oranges or the reds because understanding skin tones takes quite a lot of time, and you'd have to have a very accurate monitor to accurately correct your skin tones, or you have to have the vector scopes and other things I mentioned in the car grading video. And well, unfortunately, as if I know, Lightroom doesn't have a vector scope, so you have to grade it by eye, and I wouldn't suggest grading by eye on not so accurate monitor. You'd end up making the skin tones worse. It might look better on your monitor, but on any other device you watch it on, it won't end up looking that good. And well, most of my videos I grade them on this Asus monitor, which I have on like an sRGB color mode, which I think is pretty accurate. Yet when I watch it on different devices, including Samsung Galaxy S10, the Nokia 5 here, the images end up looking different. Like especially my last video, that perfect shot video, it looks totally different on my big screen out there, and it looks totally different on this phone here. So the best you can hope to do is to get it to a balanced point on at least the monitor you're working on. So I actually would not recommend adjusting skin tones without having any solid uh, reading for what the skin tone is, like a vector scope. So I'd rather not. Gear. um Yes. Uh, See, I whenever I ask my parents for something, they like give me a deal. Like, if you can score this much more marks, or you can spend this much time on studies, like I'll get you this thing. Like, for example, for my camera, I told them I'd get good marks in my 10th board exam, and I did. I got like, I don't want to talk about marks right here, but yeah, like they set me a goal. Like they're like, okay, spend this amount of time every day studying, or get this much marks in an exam, or at least prove to us that you're putting enough effort into studies as well as this, and then we'll get you whatever you want. And it should be reasonable. I'm not gonna go out asking for cinema cameras or a big lens collection, or even something like an iMac, because those are just too expensive for someone who's still starting out and just still learning the ropes. So I asked for very reasonable things, and well, except for the camera I got, none of them were above 5 to 6,000 rupees. So it was pretty easy on them to get it for me, because if they knew I was putting in the effort for studies along with this, I'd grow on both sides, which is better for me in the end. Like, even if I want to pursue this, I could, or if I wanted to pursue something else, I did. So basically, they set me goals, which I hit, they'll get me. And yes, that's how it's a deal system. You do something, I'll do something. So yeah, I am pretty grateful for all the things I have. So as I said, I wouldn't adjust the red. What camera you're using? Actually, this is on the Samsung Galaxy S10. I know I don't have a capture card to like connect up my camera and use it. Capture cards are super expensive now due to the I'd rather not mention virus. And well, this is the next best camera I have, and I'm just capturing it using a free application called Ivy Cam, which I installed today morning. As I said, this is very poorly planned, and yeah, I just applied like a LUT I created for this phone when I was using it to make my YouTube videos, and that's what you're seeing on the right corner, which is pretty bad positioning on my end, but yeah. So as this image is, it reminds me of like a desert, um, dry vibes. I'd rather push the yellows to an orange color to make it pop and like make it look like shot in an actual desert. Already it is on a desert, but the yellows in this image are a bit too green for my taste. So I'd rather take it to the more orangey red side, so it could give that desert sand vibes, if you can get. Speech is hard. So, and then there's obviously no greens in this image, so I don't think there's gonna be any use in adjusting the green sliders. And wait, does it actually adjust the sky? I have no idea. So I mean, sometimes even green might adjust like a blue sky due to the noise in an image. So you'd have to be careful by like, I not recommend you completely desaturate any color or something like that. You'd actually destroy the image, because it had like, colors are not just separated into specific hues in real life. Like, it's just a mixture of them. So hue saturation and lightness sliders like these, which separate them into specific hues, actually damage your image the heavier you go on them. So I suggest not going above or below 30, plus or minus 30 on all of these sliders, to preserve your image the most and not damage the files, especially if it's a JPEG. And yeah, I'd like to go a bit. No, the teals also are not adjusting anything because the entire image is full of yellow and bluish tones. So I see so many people just taking the blues and making them teals or aquas super hard, and well, I personally don't like that, but a bit of a teal color actually goes a very long way. So I rather not adjust the blues that much, but about around minus 11 seems to be nice. And you can always reduce the luminance of certain colors to give a certain effect, but here in this case I actually just do that a bit. Yeah, a bit of saturation doesn't seem to do that much to the image. And well, I used to desaturate the purples and the magentas because I thought that, yeah, noise in a digital image is most probably purples and magentas, and there are not of purple and magenta things that you shoot on a daily basis that you need to retain those colors. So I used to take them to zero, but I saw the many images get destroyed by it, so I'm just gonna leave the other hues, only adjust what's required. And and yeah, split toning is where you can nail that look. So I like to go with uh, an orangey shadow and a bit of purplish highlight. And if I reduce the saturation for both, this doesn't do much, but it gives it the vibe it needs, I'd say. Like for basically all of my presets, the split toning takes it that much farther. And I don't like to over sharpen my images, but a little bit of sharpening is always preferable, I'd say. And I mask, if you hold alt, you can actually see the edges the sharpening is affecting. So I mask the sharpness to only affect like the edgiest of the edges. No, that's wrong. I am cringe. I am the definition of cringe. So, and well, I like to add a bit of grain into the image because I like that film look. So yes, I mean, I haven't done much to this image, but subtle edits take it that much farther. And if I'm gonna be posting this to Instagram, I'll do a 4:5 crop. And you know what? I'm actually going to, no, Control Z. Make sure that that road is centered. Like, give that. This is bad cropping. The mountains in the side are completely lost. I mean, if you were planning to post this to Instagram, you should have shot it vertically. Vertically, yes, vertically. But hey, this works. And well, I think that we took an image that is already good looking and we made it a bit better. And if I apply my quote unquote 16mm presets, this is exactly what it's doing, except it's reducing the contrast a bit because I actually like to do my curves a bit different for film. So for film, when you're trying to emulate film, film never has pure 100% white, blindingly white spots. There might be bright spots, but they're relatively brighter, not complete 100% bright. So if you're actually going for the curves, if I make sure to have it below my face for planning, um, I actually will drag down the bright points a slight bit and adjust accordingly. And as you can see, when you do that, this gives it that different look. And this is what differentiates film from digital and also cheaper cameras from expensive cameras. Now, if you actually spend a lot of time watching videos on filmmaking like I have done, I have learned all I've learned from YouTube, you would actually start noticing cinema cameras as opposed to normal DSLRs and as opposed to normal phones. And that is something called highlight roll off, which is not very much covered, and that's actually what takes that image and makes it look better. Now, highlight roll off is something that it's how the camera processes light and changes in light. So like if you shine a light on yourself, like for example it's a spotlight and it shines perfectly here, but it's dark on this side. So how the camera transitions from this bright spot to this dark spot actually shows you the quality of the processing it's doing. Now cinema cameras generally have very soft highlight roll-offs, that is, the transition between the bright point and the dark point is very smooth. It doesn't look weird. And most cheaper cameras do cheaper processing, cheaper on the specific. English is hard. Cheaper cameras do cheaper processing to make sure that the cheaper internals that they ship with can handle said processing. So what that does is it blooms out. That is, if you look at cheaper GoPro clones for like 1,500 rupees on Amazon, they might advertise 4K video. They might even actually shoot 4K, but the issue is the highlight roll off is super bad, that the bright spot is bright and the dark spot is dark and there's no transition. It's just a harsh divide, and that actually spoils the look. Our eyes and even film processes images in such a way, because both our eyes and film work on some sort of the same way. Light hits the surface, gets scattered across, and individual sensors, cells or film grain particles capture the light and they undergo chemical reactions. So for our eyes, especially for human eyes, the difference between a bright point and a dark point might be much more smoother. It might be a gradient rather than a harsh divide. But for cheaper digital cameras, it actually takes it as a hard divide. And well, this phone does that a lot. And cheaper cameras generally tend to have that look. And if you spend enough time observing different kinds of cameras, you'll actually start noticing that look, and you'd immediately know whether this was professionally shot with like quote unquote cinema cameras, or it was actually a cinema camera designed for video. So you can emulate that with raw and even normal video up to an extent by reducing the white points, not too much, because if you reduce it too much, it's actually going to end up damaging the image, as you can see here. Just reduce it, make sure, okay, I don't want to create a new point. Make sure it's in this quadrant, like this box right here, like a bit, so the bright points don't just become too bright. And if you see the dotted line over here, if I pull it down, if you make sure the highlights still say, like the majority of the highlights still stay at the same point, it actually wouldn't end up damaging the image. It'll actually give it that smoother, softer look that film often has. And you can always desaturate the image to give that quote unquote film look. And these are two different looks, and my 16mm preset, which is available on my website's live plug, actually does this. And I made the teals a bit more teal because a lot of film stock that I've observed actually do this. So see, that's all. I'm just curving the highlights up and adjusting the blues and a bit of greens to make it that yellow color, and well, that's it. And again, an orange highlight and a murky green shadow, and I balanced it. And yeah, the one issue with this is I have the sharpening mask up to 100, so you have to manually bring it down to retain information. And hey, this resembles film. This is not a one-to-one accurate recreation. This is not based off any film stock, but it gives you the vibes. When you look at this, you start thinking film. And well, that is literally what you want to go with. And now there are presets available on the market for X amount of price which actually accurately emulate film, and by all means they are better, but this is my recreation of what I think is film, and this is the preset I use to edit most of my photos, and this just went from a live stream to an advert. No, I'm not asking you to go get this at all, but hey, if you want to, it's always there. And yes, this can be used in Lightroom or in Photoshop if you enable the camera raw filter. So yeah, I like to do this kind of film like style where I track down the highlights, and this is a common trend you'll see me do everywhere, even in my videos. Nothing will be pure white, nothing will be pure deep black. There will be always on the middle line a bit washed out, just like film, you can say. And if you will give me a second, I will actually try to open up DaVinci Resolve right here, because this is what I was actually planning to do with the stream. That is to show you the color grading that I did for the perfect image frame video. And yeah, this is what I was planning to, but then I also had this idea of an editing competition, which I thought would be more interesting to watch because, yeah, and I am not showing my face right now because DaVinci Resolve is extremely hard on my PC, and I am pretty sure my stream would crash if I had desktop share along with my camera, along with DaVinci Resolve opening. So, yeah, and this is awkward silence. I this is I did not plan ahead. The idea for a stream on October 2nd came on October 1st at 11 p.m. I tweeted it out the exact moment I had the idea. I did not prepare ahead in no way at all. But yeah, I mean, if the stream drops frames, you should know that it's because my PC is struggling to open Resolve. Resolve is a very CPU intensive program. It's like it has so many tools, so many things you can use that it's too powerful for me at least. Like I don't end up using most of the features there, and my audio is clipping all this while. Cool. I used to like edit, color grade, and do everything inside Premiere Pro because I just felt more accustomed to it. But nowadays, with the effects I'm doing, the color editing, color grading that I'm doing, I actually think that it would be better to. Oh, yes, my stream is dropping frames right now. I can see behind. Cool. Yes, it is definitely dropping frames. Nice. Encoder overloaded. Cool. My PC is not powerful enough to stream and edit. Yes, my stream is freezing. Cool. Very unplanned. Very. Yes, I really should plan ahead. Hopefully it doesn't lag out. um, this is going very hard on my PC right now, but yeah, this is DaVinci Resolve right here. And well, the way I achieved that look in my recent video was, it was not my own thing. It was a combination of multiple YouTubers, power grades and tips that I got from them. And yeah, power grades are like presets in Lightroom. The way Lightroom presets work is they give you the final look, but they also give you the opportunity to change it. Like if you apply a preset, it's not like a LUT where the only thing you can change is the intensity. You can actually change the individual parameters like the curves, the contrast, the saturation, individual colors, HSL, all of that. Now, Power Grade is similar to that, but for DaVinci Resolve, which you can download from basically anybody who grades from Resolve. And I follow this YouTuber called Rack Productions, RAKK, who, it's a pretty small channel. He has about 3,000 subscribers, and he actually has a very good power grade for film halation, which he got off of a forum called the Lift Gamma Gain Forum. And if you actually look here, Lift Gamma Gain, that's the terms used for shadows, midtones, and highlights in most editing software. So what it does is DaVinci Resolve is a node based system where, why are you living flying an airplane? My PC is flying. It's crying for dear life. I really need to upgrade this, but hey, it works. And yeah, DaVinci Resolve works on a node-based system where this is the input and this is the output, and all the effects you're applying go through like this. If I can Alt S to add another node, which means the video is traveling through this to the first node, getting all the adjustments made to it, and then go to the second node. And yes, hi to all those who joined in right now. Yeah, this is my first time streaming, so there are performance issues. I mess up a lot. I mean, for every 2 minutes you watch on YouTube, I had to record for 25 minutes, so you can see the amount of editing I'm doing. So yes, yeah, the lesser you grade with compressed formats, the better. But I shoot on a pretty, okay, this is still compressed video. I'm still shooting on an MP4 format, but they already have doesn't have enough data. But the stream I'm editing from is a 4K 100 megabits per second file, and I think it responds pretty well to color grading, but it may differ, and well, hopefully it doesn't. Yeah. So this is like the power grade I got off of that Rack Productions, who is a very amazing channel. You should totally check him out. I will have the link in description pretty soon. I will edit the description for that. I should have planned ahead again. And this literally pretty much it adds a bunch of nodes, a few which we don't need. There for the film mats, there is the overlays that sprocket holes and the film mat overlay, but we don't need those. And well, so as you can see here, this is the node which takes the input from here, and this has a temperature adjustment, and here is the grain. And he actually uses a program, a plugin called Film Convert, which is actually not, I don't have Film Convert, it's paid. And well, you can apply grain from Resolve if you have the studio version, and so we can forgo that, or you can always add film grain overlay files which you can get off of the internet. So let us actually not do that. And now this is the halation. Like this is the part where the halation occurs. So now what is halation? Now film literally works on basis of light hitting the film itself. It is a photosensitive material and it has a bunch of crystals on it which react when light hit it. So now what happens is when light hits a specific crystal, like for example, there is a massive contrast. Imagine there's a light source behind this phone right here. So now right on top of the phone, there'll be a very bright spot and the phone will become very dark. Now on digital cameras, it will capture that perfectly fine because there's an individual pixel capturing that light source. But for film, it is capturing it on a whole. I am trying to explain my film color grade because I had things planned and things never always go according to plan, and I literally did not plan anything else, so I'm just doing whatever comes to my mind. This is, yes. So, since film is capturing the entire frame as a whole, the light bleeds from this bright spot to the phone, giving it a specific color as a glow across all of it, and it is called halation. And now there are, yes, I am doing fine, Muhil. And yes, there are very many ways you can apply halation. You can even select a specific brightness luminance range and apply Gaussian blur to it, give it a color, and it will look like halation. But I personally like this power grade which gives you that halation. It is not that visible right now, but it's actually there. This is actually not the best frame to show that because there is no very contrast. There's not much contrast in that image, so I'll actually go to the my talking head and yes, I messed it up. Cool. I am not very much accustomed with Resolve, so please excuse. Very nice. Very nice. On stream. Cool. You know what? Yes. I am not good at this. I am still trying to experiment and trying to figure things out. And as you can see here, it has applied, yes, surprise Pikachu. It has applied this glow all over to me. And if I disable that halation node, it actually goes away. And that's all that this is doing. If that's literally all that this is doing. So many nodes here, and I use none. I kind of feel stupid right now, but hey, and then now there is this LUT, which I actually go in and I add a few more LUTs to this. So now I am shooting the footage you're watching this. I get headache. I have to. So now the footage I'm shooting this is from a Panasonic GH5. No, I don't have that camera. It's from a Panasonic G85 and it's with a profile called Cinelike D, and it's not Rec 709. It has reduced contrast and saturation. Rec 709 is just complex terminology to say proper video with a good amount of contrast and a good amount of saturation. This is very low contrast and very low saturation. So I used to just correct this by eye or by looking at the scopes, but I have this LUT that literally takes this from Cine like. It's made for the GH4, but hey, I think it works. It adds a bit of contrast and it adds a bit of saturation. So now, again, this method, I have gotten these few LUTs from this filmmaker called Uwan Melara. I think I'm pronouncing his name right, and he has a 3 LUT package, and it is a film emulation LUT, and DaVinci Resolve actually has pre-built film emulations if I actually scroll down a bit, because the yeah, it has pre-built film simulations LUTs which are basically made to, I don't know, make your footage look like film. They are accurate, they take the processes and they do it. So I like to actually use this exact LUT. But if I apply this to this node, you will see that it is too strong for this. And yes, I got the J85. Yes, I got that after I made a deal with my parents saying if I get good marks in my 10th board, would you get me that? I actually been asking for a camera for the past 3 years. I got it the day they announced the lockdown, 19th of March. So I haven't really done anything else except for YouTube videos on it. So I would make a video, be like quote unquote review about it, but I haven't used it to its full extent. It's always been in and around the house, so I really don't know how it performs in like a real world setting where the battery matters. Right here, Like right there for that video, if the battery had died, I just walked home and plugged it in the charger and then went back up there. I mean, I would lose the light, but yeah. So since this is very much, you'd say, too strong for this file, you would actually tone down. If you go to the key output, you can actually reduce the, this is like reducing the LUT intensity in Premiere Pro, but that actually doesn't do a lot here because this LUT is expecting certain type of footage which I cannot give right here. So I actually set this to 1, and now DaVinci Resolve actually has this thing called a color space transform. And what it does is it takes footage shot in one style, one correct it, okay, not correct, it takes footage which is shot in a certain color space with a certain gamma, that is how the camera processes the brightness, and it converts it into another format. So now since I've applied this LUT, it essentially takes this from if I'll turn that off, it takes this from a Cinelec D file to I'd say Rec 709. And what I'm going to do right now is that in input color space I'll select Rec 709 for both. And this LUT and many film LUTs expect an ARRI log C or a Cineon log, which are different gamma profiles. That is how the camera handles brightness. It's like kind of a log profile. ARRI log C is log for the ARRI cameras, ARRI Alexa included. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to change the output gamma to ARRI log C. And as you can see, ARRI log C, as you can see, it made the footage very much washed out as if it was shot on a log profile. Now this isn't an alternative to a log profile, it is merely emulating that, like by changing the values to make sure that the LUT actually applies on properly. And now since this LUT was made by Juan Melara, he actually suggests you to use a Rec 709 color space for the output as well. And once I add that in, you'd notice that the LUT actually applies on properly. It does not, it's not too strong, it's not too light, and it actually looks pretty okay in my eye. And I mean, you can try out different LUTs. Sometimes my Resolve might do things like this, but I'd say that this is a pretty good looking image. I mean, we went from something that was completely raw and cine like desaturated, not enough contrast, to something that actually emulates the look of film. And now he also has an OLPF node, which is an organic low pass filter, which actually takes your footage and soften it up. Like if I turn this off, you'll actually notice that you get back a bit of sharpness. So it takes the edges and softens it up. It's all in the name of making this look like film. And hey, we all love film. So now that we've applied the LUT on properly, and none of the, as you can see, the luminance is all preserved properly. Like the highlights aren't super overexposed and the shadow isn't super weird, but this is still a bit too contrasty for my like, so I'll add another node and reduce the contrast a bit. I just pulled up the shadows a tiny bit to make my face exposure proper, and it looks nice. So, and then the only thing I added to that videos precisely was that I like to have my greens a bit dark. So I went into the hue versus hue curves and I selected those trees there, and I extended the selection and I made it a bit darker. As you can see, it actually takes the greens, which are like so, and it actually makes it a bit better. I'd say it actually makes it a bit green. And then now is the part that I do for every single video. This is actually paid, but I kind of cracked it. Shh. This is, I didn't pay for it. Don't tell anybody. That's why I didn't use the grain also. I could have easily just typed in grain here, but the color space transform is available on the free version of Resolve as well. So all I'm doing here you can do on the free version, and I used to have the free version, but the free version has limitations on things like the export timeline resolutions. It has limitations on certain things you can apply. It has limitations on the fusion panel, which I don't want, so I went to some shady website and got some shady things, and I have cracked. No, no, don't say. But yeah, and then this is the next part I'm going to do is universal to every single video I've done is to make sure the skin tones are proper. Now, one common defect of the Cinerect T profile is that it makes the skin tones very yellow and jaundice like, which nobody likes. I don't have jaundice, I don't want to look like that. And most people don't actually key out skin tones for 8-bit footage and extremely compressed footage, as I'm doing right here. As you can see, the key, this is what it's capturing, and as you can see, it's very noisy, so I have to go in and denoise it and adjust with the settings a bit, like change the center, hope to get the skin and now the background. But hey, that is fine, it's not capturing too much. And if I expand the scopes, which were down here all this while, you can actually see that the skin tone is, as I said, this box is the yellow box, this is the red, this is magenta, this is blue, and this is cyan, and this is green. And the colors on this vector scope should be pointing towards that direction if they're that color. And this line I have right here is called the skin tone line, and generally the skin tone must be on the skin tone line, but for Indians and my complexion, if I land it on that line, I would look too red, so I like to have it touching that line. And I used to adjust the offset, make it a bit blue to get it to touch there, and if I actually turn off the key, it will look nice. But I actually now use, if I go to the second tab here, the temperature and the tint, which actually give you a much natural result. It doesn't look like you keyed out the skin and created it separately, which is exactly what we're doing here, but I want to have it a bit more natural. So I will adjust the temperature. As you can see, the temperature slider takes, saturates or desaturates your skin basically, and well, I just want to leave it alone, not that so many zeros. And the tint slider actually allows you to adjust it. I can make it completely, I can become the Hulk, right? Yes, I can become the Hulk, or I can have a sunburn. I like to have it touching that line right there, and I think that that is a good skin tone right there. It's touching that line. As you can see, it is a bit red. I'd actually tone it down to something like 16. It is still a bit red, but in all of the displays I've seen, this slightly reddish skin tone actually comes out looking properly. And well, on my screen it's a bit red. On your display it might differ, it might look proper, or it might look even yellowish even still. And well, this is exactly, oh, oh, I, oh, I hit 9 by accident, which is that stream ending hotkey, which I should not have. It took me a bit, no, the stream is not ending, oh god. Did not plan. How long was it like that? Okay, yeah, no prior planning. This has gone super well, but hey, I mean, this is all I did to that video, and well, it's a combination of things I learned from different YouTubers, and well, everything I've done here you can do with the free version of DaVinci Resolve 16, and it's free. And well, I now prefer grading in Resolve because it has that much more flexibility when it comes to grading, and I now feel limited by the Lumetri color because the adjustments I want to do to this just doesn't pan out. And now if I actually import in a bit of the S10 footage, I will show you a cool way you can actually try to make footage you shot look a bit better, I'd say. I wouldn't recommend you do this. I'm not sure this is the perfect method to do this or something like that, but hey, I do this. And well, yeah, you can grab still and you can have this and you can export this still. That's how I export, like put images on my tweets. And if I actually reset everything, add one node, and you can drag this and it will apply all of those adjustments here as well, and hey, it looks cool. And but the issue with this is once you add film grain, the halation and the film grain together makes this super hard to preview it on the timeline. So I literally edited the video without having any idea of how it would look with the color grade. So yeah, the stream is not ending. That was by accident. And yeah, so what I did for these files, that when I was editing this video, that was also made on DaVinci Resolve. That was the time when I had discovered color space transform and all the things I could do. So I applied color space transform to every single file. And now I don't recommend you do this. This is not the best way you could do this. You're actually destroying the image, but hey, it gives it a vibe that I like. And well, if I apply that GH4 to X709 LUT here as well, something like T to X709, yeah, it actually, if I enable it, it gives it the contrast boost and saturation boost it actually needs. So I prefer that. And if I take it to Alexa and Arilog C, this will become super desaturated, but Resolve actually has a built-in Alexa log C to Rec 709 LUT, and most of the times I just did this along with a few adjustments to the highlights, because as you can see, the Arilog C transform actually takes your, if I go to the waveform, highlights and clips them out at about 768 or sometimes even 896 IRE, which is 75 to 80% and 65 to 70%. And well, this generally looks nice, and this was what I did most for all the files you see or saw on the S10 video. I just did this, and if there were skin tones, I would select the skin tones out and make sure they're accurate, and that was all I did for most of the b-roll. And that these conversions actually gave it a vibe that I liked. So lol, I mean, it's all things you discover. If it looks nice to you, it's probably nice, I'd say. And sometimes I even went ahead and like took Sony S Gamma 3 Cine and S Log 3, and I applied the S Log 3 to S Log 3 S Gamma Cine 709 LUT. Wait, did I apply it on the right? No LUT. Let's actually do it properly. And hey, this now in this case it's actually a bit too bright, and if I delete this you'll actually notice this look from that frame that switched like very much, and that was the budget Duveteen frame. And if I drag that file in, oh yes, fun fact about that video, when I mentioned that the phone was dropped many times and it took them like a champ, there was a small frowny sad face on the bottom right, and that was because, well, that I'll show you this. It's all very much cursed, okay? Like the Head file that I use, the file name is P1010666, and this was shot on, I'd say, 17th, no, when was this shot on actually? 16th of August 2020 at about 4:32. By about 4:45 the phone was dropped. It was on my table, it fell down, I picked it up, the screen was completely shattered on like the left end, and the only thing holding it together was the inbuilt screen protectors that came with the phone. And right now it's still like that and still scared. It's exactly, yes, the phone broke immediately after, so I had no more b-roll I could shoot of it, and I could not reshoot my a-roll because now the phone had a bunch of cracks along its screen. But the display works fine. The fingerprint sensor glitches out now and then, but hey, it still works. And yes, I have fun facts about every single video. None of my videos are fine. And you would actually recognize this frame. That was all I did to this. It's actually just static. See, I captured static footage. And I didn't actually apply this back then. I did not use this LUT. That's all I did. I took a color space transform, I transformed it into Sony S Log 3 S Gamut Cine, along with an S Log 3 output gamma, and I applied the transform LUT, and it looked nice. It gave it that vibe which I like, so I just did that and exported that. And well, yeah, your stream doesn't go well if you didn't plan anything for it. So literally, that's all I had to say. So I don't know. I literally don't know what I could do. I mean, I showed you what I did, and it's rickroll.mp was planned from the beginning. And yes, I mean, like when I look back at this video, like there's so many times when the phone was like placed treacherously. Like if it fell from there, that's it. It had no case on. It was just standing right here. Actually, the bar is right here. Right here is where I am sitting to the right side here now. That's this window, and if it had fallen from there, it would have shattered, but it didn't. And I'm actually glad it didn't. But right now, when I look back at it, it just like it was bound to fall. There were clues. I should have caught on to it. But hey, yeah, and yeah, I have nothing more. I mean, I just wanted to try out streaming like with face cam and lights and setting this up and all, and hopefully it went well. You learned something useful from this. And hey, give me a sec. I'll actually add their names. Yeah. I'll add. Give me a sec. I'm doing this on the stream. Uh, Paste transform, and yes. Now I have. Hey, it actually lines up perfectly fine with the Pack text. Hey, cool. Yeah, so I'll just add their names onto this. My PC is struggling. Encoder overloaded, dropped frames. Very nice. What am I supposed to search? Yes. Yeah. So I think this went well. Uh, I am currently adding the link to the description. So yeah, if you have any suggestions I could implement for this stream or for my videos in general, go ahead. I have now updated the description. I think, I mean, you have to close the stream and reopen it to see the changes, but hey, this will be available still on YouTube after the streaming is over. And well, yeah, I should have probably sent the link in chat. That would have been a better way. So, yeah, here you go. So, that is for the Rack Productions channel, and this is for the Juan Melara channel. Both of their tools which I used to make that video, and both of them do not get enough recognition that they deserve. So, yes, go ahead. So, yeah, I mean, I guess that's it for the stream. I mean, one of the reasons I made this stream was because I started uploading videos on 2017 October, and it's been 3 years if it's 25th of October, and I just wanted to thank everybody for the support that I've been given and all the friends I met along the way. And thank you for the 174 subscribers. Here's 3 more years, and much more videos, and much better videos in general. And well, yeah. I had actually a different stream planned. I was about to have an editing contest with my friend Wolf Gaming, who was on the chat before, and the photo I edited. I was supposed to be like a competition where he edits the photo, I edit the photo, we both show like the photo on stream and letting the audience decide which is better. And if that didn't work out, I also planned like watching my own videos and giving you tidbits like information that I just gave you about the S10 screen shattering and like things like that. But hey, nothing went to plan. But I mean, if you had fun, if you enjoyed this, got something useful out of this color editing advice basically, because shooting advice actually I am not pretty sure. I have to shoot more, but I spend most of my time tweaking. So, but in any way, do not apply everything I've done here to your videos if you're not sure that is the best you can possibly capture. The adjustments I've been doing to were photos and videos from my G85, which is from a 4K 100 megabit per second capture, which I think is pretty good enough detail to like color grade and not have the footage disintegrate. But yes, I would always recommend not overdoing it. Grading as less as possible and making it look good out of camera is preferable. I mean, especially if I'm shooting on a phone, I would not do color space transforms. If I was shooting on a flat profile, like on something like Filmic Pro, I will correct the video and then apply very subtle adjustments to get it to the place I want. And well, so yeah, I would actually not recommend grading too much, making it and actually make it look good out of camera. And well, yes, I guess that's it for today. Very unplanned, but hey, it was something I tried doing. Hope you enjoyed, and well, hopefully you learned something. Hopefully, at least, and out of all the things I've accumulated from YouTube, I can say everything I learned from people like Peter McKinnon. I could say Ash Taylor. Um, I did not learn per se by watching tutorials. I saw their videos and I tried my own to create it. And well, yeah. So I guess that's it for today. I'll try to stream sometime later. I'm not sure. This was very unplanned, but hey, it was something I'd say. So yeah, hopefully we learned something and I'll see you pretty soon. Working on the next video. So awkward silence throughout the stream. Don't do not notice that I'm sitting around in this room talking to myself, so you're bound to be silent and it's bound to be awkward. So, if you enjoyed this, please consider watching my other videos. And if you're already a subscriber, hey, thank you for subscribing. And well, yeah, I'll see you.